Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Modernizing Project and Portfolio Management in Financial Services, a platform-first, flexible, and AI-driven approach, presented by Microsoft and Innovative E. My name is Stephanie Taylor, and I am your moderator for the afternoon. Your speakers today are from Microsoft, Uzair Hussain and Gina Harris, and from Innovative E, Mike Taylor and Brian Quick. Uzair is a leader in banking advisory practice in Microsoft, focused on engaging Microsoft's largest banking customers across the Americas in the early part of their digital transformation journey to envision, incubate, and scale AI transformation. Gina is a collaboration leader within the modern work business at Microsoft. She focuses on harnessing the deep expertise within Microsoft's extensive partner ecosystem to drive strategic customer change, enable transformation, and build thriving businesses. Mike is the founder and CEO of Innovative E. He began his career writing PPM software for NASA and has extensive experience as a PPM practitioner, community contributor and writer, and process and app producer. Earlier this year, Mike released his book, The AI Project and Work Management Revolution is Here. It's available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook format. We'll have a special offer for today's attendees for a free digital copy of Mike's book at the end of this webinar. Brian has been with Innovative E for over 5 years and serves as Innovative E's Senior Director of Business Development and is a Microsoft alum of 7 years, having previously managed the Microsoft project business for U.S. financial services and Midwest accounts. Before we dive in, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar is being recorded. A link to the recording along with the slide deck will be sent to you via email within the next few days. You're free to review the content at your convenience or share it with a colleague who could not attend today. Please use the Q&A feature on the right side panel of this platform to ask any questions. We will address as many as possible as time permits. If you encounter any technical issues such as audio or video problems, please use the chat function to notify us and we'll do our best to assist you promptly. With those housekeeping items out of the way, let's get started. I'm pleased to hand the floor over to Gina, Uzair, Mike, and Brian. The virtual stage is yours.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining today. Before we jump in, I wanted to lay some context to what we're talking about today. We are at a unique time in history where we're experiencing an evolutionary change in technology, similar to where a tool like a mobile phone just made phone calls at one time. New technology entered the picture with digital networks and big data pipes, which now allows us to send and receive pictures, videos, and movies, explore the internet, and do real-time work in the palm of our hand. Project management and the tools we use are at the same pivot point now. As a director in the Modern Work organization, I have had the privilege of finding, working with, and building strategy with specialized partners that can deliver real value during these transformational times. Innovative E is one of them, and they are joining us today for this discussion. Innovative E is at the forefront of transforming project management solutions for the financial services sector. As technology users and decision makers, you understand the importance of staying ahead of this rapidly evolving landscape. Modernization of your project management estate is critical at this point to leverage the latest advancements in artificial intelligence to enhance efficiencies, accuracy, and strategic decision-making in your project management processes. You'll hear from Microsoft's financial services industry advisor about the emergence of AI and the impact we're seeing across industries, but very specifically within FinServ. By integrating AI-driven tools, Innovative E enables your organization to automate routine tasks, predict project outcomes with greater accuracy, and gain deeper insights through advanced data analytics. This not only streamlines your operations, but it also empowers your teams to focus on high-value activities that drive innovation and growth. What you will hear today will be about Microsoft products and the innovative solutions that Innovative E will brings to the market, and they're designed to be scalable and adaptable, ensuring that they meet the unique needs of each of your individual businesses. And with that, I'm going to hand the floor off to my colleague, Usar. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina, Brian, and Mike. As Gina alluded to, I'm going to set a little bit of context around what we are seeing as Microsoft with respect to AI in financial services, and hopefully that'll be a nice dovetail into Brian and Mike's presentation focused on the project management space. So if we pull out a little bit, this is a slide I share with many banking executives because it helps really set the context as to what's happening right now and the environment in which AI is coming to the fold. Because we're seeing banks not only having to manage macroeconomic and geopolitical change, but a changing workforce makeup, and of course the profound, long-lasting shifts that are driven by technological innovation. Certainly, we are seeing cost optimization and efficiency pressures exacerbated by NIM erosion, competition for deposits, higher funding costs, higher loan loss provisions. You have employees trying to figure out how to be as productive and as collaborative as possible with each other and with their clients in a hybrid world. You have this balance between high tech and high touch along, a spectrum of the delivery of advice or how you deal with your colleagues and how to find that balance across the variety of personas that exist within the bank. And finally, you have this proliferation of data, and add to the mix now the explosion of generative AI to learn and train on this massive data set and drive meaning of that data with the almost unlimited horsepower of the cloud. There comes both massive challenge and opportunity. And so the net of it is really, as we talk to banking customers globally, the expectation for Microsoft is, Microsoft, how can you help us drive greater productivity, greater operational efficiency, and positive operating leverage for every dollar that we are, scratching and clawing to get in through the door. And so that brings us to the subject of AI. And I'm sure everyone's seen the headlines and seen all the different areas where AI is making impact. But I think it's important to contextualize that this is a new moment for AI. AI as a field has been around for many, many years. And if you go to the next slide, please, Mike. Perfect. Thank you so much. And so AI is not a new thing, right? It's been around since the 50s. It's essentially a way for individuals to create systems that help comprehend what people say, how to make decisions, how they translate, et cetera, et cetera. And certainly machine learning and neural networks have been around in banks for quite a while, whether that's in marketing, whether it's in fraud, in credit risk, in propensity modeling. And so the topic is not new. What is new and what is really, I think, going to transform the industry at large is generative AI. And the difference here is being able to leverage the power of what are called LLMs or large language models to make new things. That's really the key, not regurgitate or provide information about existing things. It's learning patterns and structures and then generating something that's similar but new. And the key capabilities that this is really good at is content generation, summarization, and semantic search. And you'll see these themes peppered in throughout the presentation. And I think the proof is in the pudding here with respect to the growth of this technology. I would say, generally speaking, AI may have been domiciled towards data scientists or developers or people with analytical or comp sci backgrounds. I think what Gen AI has showcased is the ubiquity of the technology. As you can see here, very ubiquitous technologies like the mobile phone, the internet, Facebook, took 16 years, 7 years, 4.5 years to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT got to 100 million users in 3 months. And this showcases the universality of this technology and its ability to impact a variety of personas, both in your personal life, but also in your professional life. But I think the conversation has now evolved, right? This technology has been around for about 18 to 24 months. And I think we're seeing a roadmap quickly develop around value. And so where it started with, what is this thing? How do I secure my data? What can it be used for? The focus now is really around value creation. And so prevalent in every conversation we have with every banking executive has moved beyond the hype cycle to, okay, What can we practically do with this technology in the near term, the medium term, and the long term to drive value for the variety of personas that exist within the bank? Because it is really about value. If you can go to the next slide, please, here, Mike. AI, generative AI, just like any other technology, is a tool in service of a business outcome. Whether that outcome is increasing revenue, optimizing costs, or promoting general well-being, I think that's such an important paradigm that we've been trying to articulate more broadly. It's not AI for AI's sake. What is the business problem that we are trying to solve, and what is the available tool, in the toolkit to be able to solve that problem? I feel like 18 months ago, generative AI was a hammer and everybody just saw nails everywhere. I think we've been a lot more nuanced around how we deploy this technology to solve specific problems, which of course we'll talk about in the PM space. The last thing I wanted to share with you folks is, as we talk about value, Microsoft, which acquired LinkedIn about 5 or 6 years ago, we've got a lot of great data about how people work. And so every year we do what's called our Work Trend Index survey, which looks at how people work, how are they interacting, what are productivity trends and patterns. And this happens across 31,000 people in 31 different countries. And I wanted to share some of the findings from that survey because I think it'll resonate with you and dovetail nicely into the rest of the presentation. Number one, 68% of people surveyed said they struggle with the pace and volume of work and do not have enough uninterrupted focus time in their day. Number two, 60% of employees' time is spent communicating, whether they're in meetings or email and Outlook or chat within Teams. And a whopping 78% are bringing their own AI tools to work to help, which shows me that number 1 and 2 are showcasing a problem. Number 3 is showcasing that there's pent-up demand for capabilities to help solve those problems. And this digital debt, as we describe it, is only growing. If we can go to the next slide, please, Mike. What I call the cost of hybrid work: more meetings, more emails to consume, more chats to answer, and more documents to have to make sense of. And every minute that is spent managing this digital debt is a minute that is not spent on creative work. And so in a world where creativity helps drive productivity, digital debt is more than just an inconvenience. It's actually impacting business. And so that leads us to Microsoft's philosophy around how to solve this problem, which is Copilot. So a Copilot, a generative AI assistant for every persona in the bank, whether that's a business professional, a functional professional, a development professional, or a project management professional, as a real-time collaborator, as an ability to automate administrative tasks, and to really help drive additional work. And the key here is the term co, right? It's not autopilot, it's Copilot. Just like a real Copilot rather, the pilot is always in charge. And so that's a really important concept that I think is worth reiterating as we think about generative AI as an augmenter of human creativity, not as a replacer of human creativity and productivity. And so the last thing I'll share here at Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And so as we enter the age of AI, that mission matters more than ever. And so we are building AI into all the tools that you know and use every single day: Teams, Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Planner, of course, and for every role type that exists across the bank, from customer-facing roles to head office roles to IT roles to developer and data roles. And so, thank you so much for this opportunity. And Mike and Brian, I will pass it off to you.
Thank you very much, Uzar. Thanks, Gina, as well, for that great introduction. So everything that Uzar was saying and Gina was saying applies, obviously, to all disciplines throughout your organizations. And we're going to focus for the rest of this session really on the state of kind of what's going on in project management. So project portfolio management or project and work management. And really kind of what is the state today and how can you start to apply these new technologies and this amazing new platform to really take advantage of it in the world of project and portfolio management and work management. We'll talk more about how we kind of put those things together in the context of work management. So one of the things that's going on in the project work management space is 92% of all organizations are using multiple disconnected tools. The average enterprise has 5.7 project or work management tools in place. So it's all over the board. And this has been confirmed by multiple studies and industry analysts and everything else. Every year, there's 48 trillion that are spent in project investments, and these investments are ostensibly done to help advance organizations, for your customers, for your internal projects, for compliance, for governance, whatever you're embarking on these projects for. But only 35 are considered successful, and this is from a Standish Group study, which was part of I think it was a HBR article last year. But the interesting thing is these numbers really haven't changed much over the years. It's hovered between 25 and 35% success rates. And these are self-reported success rates. These aren't externally, somebody doing analysis. That's what people are saying their success rates are. Project managers spend way too much time finding and aggregating data. These are alluded to that in some of the work industry trends. People are always chasing data. Project managers are no exception. May even be worse for project managers because you have all these different tools and things in all these different locations. There's a gap between the work itself and the systems that govern it. This is a project management in itself. The electronic systems that we're entering the data in is not necessarily the work itself. Whether it's, an IT project, somebody's doing IT infrastructure, data center work, they're doing, cloud migrations, doing code development, engineering, whatever it is the projects are. The work itself isn't the actual representation of the work. So this gap is a big area where, you can start to look at how you can bridge that gap with AI and automation as well. There's a lot of these siloed. We talked about all these different apps and tools that create siloed and external data sources, which really hinder visibility, which then hinder your ability to make timely decisions, which then hinder your ability to deliver projects on time and be successful with them. And again, disparate apps and data also impedes AI usage. At the core of AI is data. And when you have data in multiple locations and third-party apps and other clouds and things like that, it makes it much harder. Within that particular app, you can do interesting things with AI, but doing it, across the board becomes much more difficult. So how do we get there? And I'll go through this one kind of quickly because anyone here who's been doing project portfolio management, this probably looks pretty familiar. Over the years, there's been just a whole plethora of tools that have evolved. There's the Microsoft tool set, which now has 4 or 5 legacy tools plus the new planner. Then you have all these other tools that have been around to manage different kinds of work. I said work management. It's not just project management. You have things like Jira and Azure DevOps, which obviously are tackling things that are in the the agile space. It's still work management. You've got Smartsheet. You've got all the born in the cloud solutions, Monday, Asana, on and on and on that have been born over the last 10 or 12 years. You also have a whole lot of methodologies that have developed over the last probably 30 or 40 years. You've got Agile, Waterfall, Scrum. You've got all these different things that kind of came about to try to manage work better. And then you have curriculum and training from everything from the Project Management Institute to a lot of organizations. You probably have some of your own, whether it's ITIL or COVID-based type process stuff. And then, within your project and work management space, you probably have some of your own methodologies that you developed or have, honed around some of these. So there's all these different things that are going on. And so we really feel that, a lot of this has added to that, all these data chasing problems and all these problems with not having the ability to have information in one place to make better collaborative decisions. One of the things, I don't have a stat in here, but I just saw the stat the other day, 70 to 90% of project management work is actually in the collaboration space, not the task management space itself. It's actually the collaboration space, which is actually not that surprising. So Microsoft's view of the work management landscape, and they kind of divide it into a couple things. This is a Microsoft slide. They talk about on the right, you see the enterprise work management, which is your traditional project and portfolio management. So you've got your project managers, your project executive officers. This is where your EPMOs and PMOs and those kind of folks will live, is in this very disciplined area of project management, which is facilitated by the fact that you have these very complex, intricate projects and initiatives that need to be done, and so you need to be able to manage it well. This only represents maybe 5 or 10% of an organization's outlook, though, of total information workers, right? Your modern folks. The collaborative work management space is also a space where there's a lot of project type work going on. In fact, some studies show that most work that information workers are doing, 70 or 80%, is actually project in definition, right? It has a begin and an end and some kind of scope, and it's not a repetitive task or an operational task. So these two worlds are actually coming together more, is what we're seeing. And Microsoft's vision is to allow the teams to do the work the way they want and get the results that you need. And to that end, I'm going to show a quick demo. We've got a couple different demos we're going to do today. This one is actually just a snippet out of a very, very hot off the press new project management agent for Planner that was just demoed in Ignite in Chicago a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to play this, and hopefully the audio works, and get about a 1-minute overview of the ability to do assistance starting a project with just a few prompts. So this is kind of an embedded first-party ability to take an agent and do some really cool things with it just right out of the box.
Introducing the Project Manager, a new agent that automates project and task management. Start by creating a new plan and then selecting Plan with Project Manager. Give the plan a name and share it with the group. Now it's time to set the goal for the project. Think of this like a well-crafted prompt that AI will use to create relevant tasks to complete the project successfully. The more descriptive and specific, the better. You can even add relevant files to the plan to provide key information and context. Then click Generate Tasks, and the project manager instantly creates a task list tailored to this goal. Yes, it's that easy.
Okay, so gives you a little flavor for what's possible
Introducing
now.
the Project Manager.
So one of the things that when you talk about AI, and this was in one of our slides as well, is people want. I think this actually came from the work survey as well, that people want to implement AI and automate busy work. And there's a lot of busy work in project management. So 85% of employees want more automation and with their project and collaboration tools. However, there's also this statistic that says, and this was, I believe, from the Gartner study done last year, that 80% of project management tasks will be run by AI by 2030, so in a little over 5 years. Interestingly enough, the article went on to say that there will also be 25 million new project management jobs. So it's not replacing the project management feature or function; it's actually adding to it, and it's taking away a lot of that mundane task, and it's going to make that symbiotic relationship between machine learning and AI and the project managers, so that they can be more effective. So it's actually going to increase the number of jobs that are out there, which is great. So what's needed to prepare your future for project and portfolio management, enterprise work management, collaborative work management? And it's this concept of modernization. So what are the core tenets? I think, in the research we've done and what we've heard and what we see all the time is people need better visibility into the plan and executed work. They need to be able to execute against plan better. They need better portfolio level reporting and BI accuracy. And that goes a lot to the data as well, and having consolidated data to work and reason over. Really need to reduce those manual tasks. Project managers spend an awful lot of their time, and the term we hear all the time is chasing data. So they're trying to and aggregating data and presenting data and doing all these things. So these manual tasks take a lot of work, a lot of cycles away from the ability to actually do the really important stuff, which is deconflicting things, working with people, working through issues, working with stakeholders to maybe adjust and do things that are going to be required to either make these initiatives come in and hit the results that you're looking for, or sometimes it's realized that initiative is maybe not as important as it needed to be, and in the portfolio view of things, you need to readjust and reapply those resources to another initiative, which will provide the value to the organization. So faster and more accurate governance and audit response capability. We have several people that work with us that came from a financial services background and worked in executive management, and they're always talking about how this is an ongoing theme, that you really need to be building your data and have the ability to respond to governance audits, those kinds of things, not just today, but you need to be thinking a few years in the future. So data is a key part of this. More robust collaboration, that's an essential component. more accurate resourcing. That's an eternal problem in project resource management. So when you get into how this looks, we've got a wheel here that we kind of drew up to say, what does this look like from an organizational perspective, and how you put these pieces together. And so we've got there some common challenges in the financial services industry: risk and regulatory, time to market, efficiency, market disruptions. There's obviously more, but then in the context of, you've got a platform now, and Microsoft's platform is, it's an amazing platform. It's, as they will say, it's a generational platform with Power Platform and Copilot and AI and all the stuff that they built into it. Power BI, it's going to be around for a long time, and it's truly transformative in the things that it can do. But it's not necessarily tuned towards project and work management at the enterprise work management level. So the folks that are challenged with doing the PPM or enterprise work management, you've got to create, you've got to do all these different functions: task management, reporting, collaboration, resourcing, governance audit and response, and things like that. So putting those pieces together, we really see it as, the partner opportunity or the partner advantage to bring to the customers here is to really kind of bridge that gap between the core platform capabilities and really making it all that it can be for project and work management. So that's where you see partner IP and solutions. So we have a product which we'll show you in a minute, but other partners, great partners, have things they built mostly on Power Platform to really extend and really accelerate your journey into this new world of project portfolio management. And it really is a different way of thinking. It's a way of thinking of the platform first rather than the product first. Over the years, we've seen people always kind of take the approach of, if they want to do, a new EPMO lead comes in or a CIO comes in and says, we're going to change things up, they kind of take that holistic, monolithic approach of, all right, we're going to go buy a tool. What we're seeing more and more customers realize is you already own a tool. It's the Microsoft platform, and you can take that tool and you can extend it, and you can use some of the SaaS pieces which are built in already, like Planner and the new Planner with premium features, and you can really make it everything you need for it to be. And now your time to market to change and respond to changes according to what's going on inside your business or external pressures are going to be much faster on this modern platform that's designed exactly for that. So this is kind of the world that we see, and how it might move forward. So how do you get there? We really see it can be rather than a monolithic wholesale change or rip and replace, that especially if you're an organization that already is based on the Microsoft platform, maybe you already have some of the Microsoft project capabilities already built in and some things already built around those, there could be a more evolutionary approach to moving you towards the unified platform. And what does that look like? Well, it starts with centralizing your collaboration and data on Teams. That's the platform. If you're a Microsoft-centric shop, people are already doing the work there. That's where the flow of work is happening. You're doing your meetings there. You're storing your artifacts. You're doing some of your basic workflow and all those kind of things already in Teams. So, and Teams is a first-party app to the Power Platform, so it's very extensible, and you can, it's very easy to use with the Dataverse and all the other components that make it easier to do, customizations around your specific needs. Where necessary, continue to use existing PM tools. You don't have to change overnight. If you've got Project Online or even non-Microsoft tools, you can continue to use those. Just keep an eye on the evolutionary approach to get you to the state where you can reduce that kind of technical debt of all those additional things that you have and really be optimized for the platform efficiency that it can bring you. You can repurpose critical customizations in Power Platform and get efficiencies off that, right away. Increasing your AI and Copilot usage with personal assistants, that is a key way to do things. As Zora said, one of the things that people kind of maybe 16, 18 months ago were thinking is, well, we're going to change the world overnight with AI. The problem with that is you got to get your data right, and you've got to get your building blocks in place. Well, AI can actually help you get your data right and your building blocks in place by going after using these personal assistants to get things done. And we'll talk a little bit. We've got a couple of examples of that in a minute as well. Then, increase your usage of the first-party SaaS tools like Planner. They're built in already, because you're going to get advantage of that being a first-party app within the estate of the modern platform. And then evolve the solutions over time, but keep an eye on that and have a roadmap to get there. And then you can start to retire some of your legacy apps, and that can include things like Project Online. And then finally arrived at that unified kind of secure platform that's optimized for PPM. So we have a graphic that kind of shows this evolution as well. So really starting with, you've got a timeline here on the bottom, and you've got value here. So you increase your data centralization on the secure platform. As you do that, you can begin to do more things with automation and copilots and agents and things like that, which are going to be help to, it's that symbiotic relationship. You're going to get better data. Now you can do more with it. The humans are now freed from the mundane, and they're doing more of the high value stuff. So what we see a lot of customers, and this is a typical journey we see a lot of customers moving through, is they've got all these disparate data apps and people, people using these different apps and context switching all day. So the next thing to do is really, keep some of your key tools, centralize your collaboration, start to use the AI and automation and gap fill with, again, the partner solutions or things that you develop on your own with, low code agents, things like that. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. That gets you to the central point in kind of an evolutionary approach, which is you've got a team-centric platform. We've got a lot of customers who've made this part of the jump. They're now working. They might still be using Project Online. They're using now the new planner. They may be using some other third-party tools, but they're now taking advantage of the modern platform and some of the AI capabilities to really get a lot more done and set the groundwork for the next phase, which is really to continue to evolve the platform and your overall solution around your project and work management. You can start to eliminate some of the third-party apps that are redundant because there is overlap. In a lot of cases, you're paying for things that you're already paying for on the Microsoft platform, like storage and workflow and things like that. You're getting more and more secure as you get more of your data into your own tenant, and you're not worried about chasing it over in other third-party cloud solutions. And then you can also eliminate things like Project Online. There is there's no announced deadline for when it'll be gone, but it's not going to be around forever. And there are key functionalities which are slowly kind of being deprecated because it's part of the platform capability. So you do need to have a strategy to get off of Project Online in the future, if that's where you're at. And then that takes you to the kind of the third place, which is the unified, optimized project and work management platform. You've got now a minimized app tool set, so you a lot less context switching, a much richer and centralized database of all your project and work management. Now you also have the ability, you've got robust Copilot and AI capabilities. You probably have embedded AI in certain apps that you have, and you can use things like agents to go on and continue to do things around your business processes, whether you're doing it or you're bringing third-party partners like us or other partners in to do that. One of the other advantages of this is that when you get to further on to the right on this is there's more and more ubiquity of the resources that are available. These third-party apps, they're not necessarily easy to find a Monday.com workflow expert, or if they do, I don't know how expensive they are or whatever. The Power Platform, Copilots, AI agents, that's going to be the future where there's going to be a ubiquity of human capital to do the development. So that's going to be your best way to be most agile in your business and have best business agility and at the lowest overall cost in the future, because there's going to be a plethora of those resources. And again, you're maximizing the use of your AI. You're dramatically getting a better business agility. We've seen that with some customers who've gone through this process. We had a customer, a very large consumer products company, that went through part of the way through the process, and then they decided they were going to split their company up. And the fact that they'd already gotten onto the Power Platform made that process much easier. And then the limitless extensibility to meet business challenges. In the past, when you're changing your Project Online or third-party solution, you were going to use C# or something else in .NET, and your dev cycles could be months, maybe a year or more. Your dev cycles now are, using the Power Platform with the low code, no code kind of solution, can be weeks to get new features, capabilities, or modify things around your business needs. So it really does increase your agility to do things just tremendously. Oops, I went out of presentation mode. Not sure how that happened. Let's go back in presentation mode. There we go. Now I have to go back through this. Sorry, guys. All right. So with that, I'm going to actually turn it over to Brian for a minute and have him go through a little bit about the product that we built about 3 or 4 years ago for just this purpose, to kind of step in the gap, if you will, and bring a lot of these things together. So, Brian?
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Mike. That was a really good overview. I'm going to share with you a couple of things that kind of bring this to life a little bit as we talk about it. It's often just better to see something than to talk about it. So what I have in front of you right now is Microsoft Teams. And I've opened up Planner within Teams. And I just wanted to show you these new Copilot capabilities of Planner. Now, I don't have the ability to show you the agents yet because that hasn't obviously been released. But if I'm in a Planner plan and I want to ask this Copilot question here, like what tasks are overdue,
There you go.
I can go ahead and just do that. And it'll give me an answer to that question. And then you can see that the received contract review is overdue and it was assigned to Susan, among other things. And then I can follow up and see, can I check the status of the team building exercises? It gives me some suggestions. Can I get details on the contract review? And so it's a very helpful resource. It also can generate tasks for you if you want a certain type of tasks based on a certain type of thing, and it'll generate that for you, things like that. So I just wanted to give you kind of a flavor for that. The next thing I wanted to show you was something that we've built, which is called Teams for PM. It's a tool that we use basically to accelerate the use of Teams and for the purposes of project management. And so I wanted to show you a little bit about that pre-configuration today inside of Microsoft Teams. You can see that I have a channel inside of Innovative Products called Artificial Intelligence Project. And within that project, I'm chatting, I'm collaborating with my team. So bringing Microsoft Planner into Teams and the new Planner Premium features, which really turn on project management in a meaningful way. I can baseline my project. I have the ability to have a board view. I can have a timeline view if I want a Gantt chart. But it's all very collaborative right here in Teams. As you can see, I can do this in line with my discussion. But beyond that, what we've created is the ability to actually instantiate one of these channels from a workflow. So you can have a project get started and then you can actually have it create the channel for you. So imagine getting rid of all that busy work of where do I put things? What channel do I create? That's all taken care of for you. And we've also created a project status report for this project, which can be customized. Mike mentioned the extensibility of the solutions to your company. We can definitely extend that and build a project status report just for you. That's most meaningful. Imagine automating all of those manual status reports that your folks are doing today and completely automating them and making them available right in Microsoft Teams. And beyond that, we've created the ability for your project managers to be able to just come into Teams and be able to update the data about the project that's being reported on. Your red, yellow, green indicators, your risks, your issues, all can be managed right within the Teams channel, including some resource management capabilities and team building and things like that. We have a little AI module down here that'll even manage project sentiment so that you can tell how the project is going based on the way people are talking about it in the chats. So that's really bringing AI into life in another different meaningful way. And of course, you can register all your risks right here. But the most meaningful part of that is not only bringing the risk management, issue management, and the lesson learned management right into Teams, but it's centralizing that data, like Mike said, so that you can create meaningful dashboards out of Power BI and also point AI at that data to reason on that data. And we've already gotten started here at Innovative building an agent that will actually be able to read into all the Teams for PM managed data. But don't worry if you're on Project Online. We have something for you too. This might seem like a bit of a leap, but we would encourage you to take it more as an evolution. So you can see that with this particular project, application lifecycle management, I'm actually using Project Online. So if I clicked on this project plan, it would bring up Project Online, but the rest of this is all the same. So imagine using what you already have today and gradually moving into something like this, and how powerful it would be to centralize all your data in one place, have an automation and a governed way in order to use Teams for that purpose. And we think it makes a lot of sense just to centralize things right in Microsoft Teams. How your projects get started, managing all the data associated with those projects right there in Microsoft Teams, where your folks are working anyway, and as Mike said, in the flow of work. So that's just a little flavor, a little demonstration for you on what we can do.
Yeah, just Brian, one of the things that was cool in what you're showing there is that it didn't matter which type of project execution tool that your Teams frame, the channels were all exactly the same, right?
That's right. Yeah, consistency, governance. And so we want to use the entire platform, like you said, Mike, and wherever you guys are at today, we want to move you forward.
Absolutely. So it looks like I'm back on the screen here. We got the that's sort of a architecture of the Teams for PM that Brian just showed. You can see that it connects to, we've got the fully automated capabilities for several of the Microsoft execution tools. We've got some Teams automation. We've got some things that are in dev with Viva Goals, which we're actually prototyping that with a customer right now. So you can attach the goals to your execution. So, you get strategy alignment to your execution, which will be your projects, initiatives, and portfolios. And what's cool about that is you can do it independent of which execution tool you're using. So you might have something in Planner, you might have something in Project Online, and you can tie those back to Viva Goals that are, that strategic driver for that initiative. And we've got more things on the roadmap. So, and again, one user experience, one dashboard, one data model. And then we've got, these are just a few customers that are using Teams for PM now, including Carolina's Telco, which is in the FinServ industry. We have a couple others as well. And then there's this is just a breakdown, and you guys will get a copy of the deck. So, this is just a breakdown of some of the things that Teams for PM brings to the table, as Brian was talking about. And I want to try to get through so we can have some, if there's any Q&A, and just talked about the demo. So talk about PPM contextual AI work assistant. So another thing that we have built into Teams for PM, there's several things we've done automation AI wise. This one is actually reads meeting minutes, and it will provide. And I did this instead of doing a straight demo of it. I just put it into the PowerPoint because it's easier to follow by following the cards here. So it actually gives you a project manager, a card that says, okay, here's the transcript summary, and it can summarize the meeting, what happened within the meeting. It can then summarize the action items, and it can summarize the risk. And then you see those little check boxes, and it'll allow the project manager to click on those if they want to create actions or risk out of those. So then it will present those cards to the project manager, and then they can refine those. If it's an action item, you can say, yeah, I want that to be assigned to Mike, or I'm going to reassign that to Brian or somebody else. And it can say, what the due date is, and, what are the details of that action item. Same thing with a risk. Of course, risk has different parameters around it. So you have what is the risk, what's your impact, what's your probability. And then in those common list items that you saw that Brian was doing a minute ago in the demo, you had, your action item list and your risk list. When this is done, when this card the project manager clicks on it, it automatically populates those and stores those in those common locations. So this is yet another example of how AI takes some of the mundane work away from any project managers out there. Taking your notes, then going at the end of the day and saying, all right, what are my risks? Going and logging those in and opening the application, logging it there. And then, making sure it's in the same location. That gets to be a little tedious. This does almost all that work for you. And so it's just one example of taking a lot of the work away from the mundane task. And by doing so, you're probably going to have more and more reliable data because you don't miss anything, right? The machine's doing the work for you. And then we did another thing. Now, agents are sort of an emerging thing. The first demo we showed was actually a project manager agent on Planner. You can create your own agents as well. So what this is a short demo, and it's going to go really fast. It's at the bottom. I'll try to talk through what's happening here. But what we've done is we have Teams for PM, and there's some tables that are available from Teams for PM that creates additional data sets. Again, taking the Microsoft platform and making it more tailored to project and portfolio management and work management. So we pulled data from all those different sources that you see down there, and then we created a Copilot agent So this stands alone from Teams for PM. This is actually something that is created and put into the tenant environment. And you'll see at the beginning here how I actually created it and put it into my Teams environment. And customers can do that themselves. They can create agents. You can have partners create agents. There's the first-party agents. The agents are going to be a huge thing going forward, and they're really cool because they allow you to do reasoning over things. It's a step more than just doing regular prompting. So what you'll see here is a bunch of prompting, but that prompting is facilitated by the fact that we created this Teams for PM Q&A agent that'll allow you to go ask some questions that are interesting. So as we play the video here, you'll see, and go install the agent. And you'll see it up in the upper right corner there, and we add the agent in, and it will pop into, when you hit add, the agent will now become on that left rail, and then I can access the agent. So now what has happened is I've been doing some inquiry, and I ask like, how many list items are associated with project called meeting demo, and AI is going to reason over it. It's going to go through those lists and say, okay, you have 4 list items. Then I'm going to say, of those list items, how many are risks? And what are they? And so then it goes in and it reasons over it, and it says, all right, you've got a risk. There's actually 4 risks. It lists the top 3 there. And then I can continue to do some more inquiry on it. And I can say, what's the average exposure of these risks? So, how risky is this? And it comes back and says it's a 2.0. And can you give me a reference? So where is it located? And then actually does something interesting. It goes in. It says it's a moderate level of risk. So it's actually reasoning over the data and an LLM at the same time. And this, when I ask it if it's good or bad, that's pure LLM stuff. It's reaching out to the internet. Then I ask what resources are available, and it comes back and says you have 11 skills that are available. And then I say, well, list the resources that have been added since the beginning of November. So you can go on and on with the kind of questions that you ask. And then, what skills do they have? So it's all this kind of ad hoc querying is made available because we created an agent that reasons over the data, and you could actually create it to do specific things as well, and specific outputs, but it's really cool stuff. And I think that is just about it for everything. We have a couple of QR codes. Here's a QR code for the book. If anyone's interested, and you'll get a copy of the deck as well, so you can always scan it, but this is only available for one day, tomorrow on Kindle. So if you go there, you can download the Kindle book for free. And then we'll get to this, where we have a bunch of resources that are available. There's our website. There's the Teams for PM website. There's the Microsoft Planner blog. There's all kinds of good information about Planner and Project on there. If you're an existing customer and you've got, you're interested in some of the new features and things that are going on, that's a great place to go. If you're an existing customer and you've got Project Online, and you're interested in kind of what's the latest and what things are coming up, it's also a great place to go. We also are offering innovation labs for qualified customers to spend some time together to really go through and dig into the art of the possible. And also, if you're interested in a discovery call to see how you might get started, there's a QR code there. You can scan and call in, or there's a tiny URL for that as well. So with that, I guess we will go to see if there are any questions or comments. I don't see any that have been submitted yet. No.
Mike, maybe if I can start, when you look at the financial services, what would you say is one of the most critical aspects of this industry that we've talked about security, we talked about compliance, right? Is there something that really resonates or rises to the top where the modernization becomes a really critical element to consider over the over the short term?
Yeah, I think one of the things that pops up is the number of disparate tools that are available out there, and a lot of folks in FSI have adopted that like everybody else has. It creates a real problem when you get into things like auditing and governance and having consistent data sets. So that's one area where we've seen a lot of customers in FSI say, we need to get better about thinking about our data and making sure that we have a better kind of a roadmap to make sure that we're going to be able to answer those questions, not just today, but in the future. And in some cases, you've had financial services customers who've moved into more of an agile approach using something like Jira or ADO, Azure DevOps, and then they've lost some of that connectivity between the investment and the time maybe that was worked on it, or the work that was being done, which is more traditional PPM things, and that causes real problems for the auditors and compliance folks. So getting the data into a central area and making sure that it's relevant and easily accessible for the future when you might need it is a really key thing, I think. And I think the ability, I think it cuts across industries, but in regulated industries, the ability to really have people do things more effectively with the secure data. So you talk about things like AI and assistance and things like that. The challenge you have there, if you're going off platform and using, again, it comes back to data and the secure data platform. Everybody has that challenge. Everybody's overworked and have lots of time that they need to try to save. And if you can do that with the modern platform, allows you, it's really an enabler to put those tools in place faster to really help solve those problems without having to go solve all those other security and platform problems first.
Yeah, got it. It's for those on the call. I'm guessing that might resonate with you. And one of the first steps that we've seen be very successful in customers beginning to think through and maybe unravel their project management estate and start thinking about a roadmap approach to modernization is with a discovery call with a specialized partner. And I love the fact that Innovative E has put this as an offer to today's participants. That's a really good first step to just have a sit down with a subject matter expert to help navigate some of those questions that are very specific to your business. And every business is going to be slightly different, but these guys have pretty deep knowledge within this particular industry that will help navigate some of those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every business has their own unique endpoint process stuff that they need to worry about, but there's a lot of commonality among organizations, especially when you talk about industry alignment like in FSI.
Yeah. Stephanie, are there any questions that you see? All right. I think this has been a really good opportunity for you guys to talk about what's next in project management and FinServ. So I really appreciate it, Mike and Brian, for you guys to show up today and provide that overview for the Microsoft customers that were able to participate. And with that, I hope we can connect the two together to start modernizing and start accelerating the business value that we all know will be a result of the collaboration. So thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate you coming out today to support and hear about what's going on in this space. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And the QR codes are there for your convenience. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you to Gina, Uzar, Mike, and Brian. And again, thank you to everyone who took the time to participate in today's webinar. We hope you found it valuable and informative. If you do have any questions, again, you can scan the QR code or reach out to us directly at info@innovative-e.com, and we'll get back to you. We just might use your question in an upcoming podcast or blog, so stay tuned. Also, be sure to keep an eye on your inbox for the recording of today's session and some additional resources and the slide deck. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye now.
Bye now.